everybody. Welcome to Higurashi When They Podcast, where we talk about the Higurashi books. And we're talking about the 8th book. I don't know how it's pronounced, but we're talking about the last one.
Yeah, the last one. Just to stay ahead of time, this is not the final episode of Higurashi One Day Podcast.
No, we got some extra stuff coming.
And we'll get to that. But this is the last one of the main 8, and thank fuck we're done.
Yeah, I remember both of you telling me that it's like, we're having a really good time, it's just long.
Yeah, like when I don't think it really hit me when Kirby fan said this is longer than the Bible until this chapter.
Yeah, because it turns out this one is like 200,000 words at least. It's like 216,000 words.
It's a long one, yeah.
Like random. We've read a million words.
That's right. It's me, random bystander here. That's who I am. I'm random bystander here.
I'm Ebony Fallen Angel, aka the Watch.
That one really caught me off guard, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
No, yeah. I do.
Okay.
Just to put you all in perspective, we read this book from like the start of February until like the 13th. We read all of that in like 13 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we crammed. We got a problem with cramming.
Yeah. Where should we start?
Actually, I'm going to take the wheels here for a little bit. Patented Kirby fan ramble. It's been a while. So Higurashi 8. I know this is gonna sound when I say it, but hear me out. But Higurashi 8 is kind of a big deal.
Oh really?
I went over this in the first episode, but I'm just going to bring it back up because I think it really helps put Higurashi as a whole into a kind of perspective. When Higurashi was initially being released, it was released at this thing called Comiket, which, again, just to kind of make it as easy to understand for overseas, imagine it's a convention, but it's for indie games. That's not wholly correct. Or, like, indie groups. It's not wholly correct, but it's the closest comparison to really make.
So is this something like where they, like, develop games together? Like a,
Oh, no, it's like a bunch of different, very small teams. But a bunch of small teams that aren't, no Nintendo, no Sony, nothing like that.
Yeah, but, it was like it was a convention that showcased indie developers, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And, other indie groups for, like, manga and stuff like that, but...
So it's like the indie wing of, like, a lot of gaming conventions, but that's the whole thing.
Yeah. The only addendum, and this is kind of what makes Higurashi such a big deal, and I think I talked about this in the first episode, but the thing with Comiket is that, I'm not going to dance around the topic. I'll just say it outright. Comiket is a convention for adults and for a group of, I'll just say it, anime fans, porn cells, hentai cells. A lot of really genuinely amazing works have come out of Comiket. Even ones that aren't even hentai. But a lot of what really, really sold, especially for visual novels, it was mandatory to have the hentai in your visual novel if you're going to sell it at Comiket. And again, even with that in mind, some amazing things have been sold at Comiket. But the first big one that really sold at Comiket that didn't have any of that was Higurashi. But you also have to remember Higurashi didn't sell that well at first. Like, the first Comiket, it's only sold like a couple hundred. Whereas, you've got other visual novel companies selling tens of thousands. Some of them throughout their run even breaking 100,000, which for a small little game being sold at a convention before digital existed is kind of crazy to think about.
Oh my god.
But Higurashi 8 was obviously of the original 8. It was the final one, and it is a very big deal because this simple little story about a group of friends coming over their own setbacks and, trying to get that happy ending was the first non-pornographic visual novel. It could be visual novel, it could be not, I don't know, but at the very least, first non-pornographic visual novel to break 100,000.
Whoa.
With Higurashi 8, the series broke 100,000, which is inspiring as hell.
Good for Ryokichi.
Yeah. Especially, I know you've never really gone back to read 1 yet, but, if you go back to 1, it's just, this was literally made from nothing. It's, it started from nothing.
Anyway, let's talk about 8.
So let's talk about 8. I do want to go over, I'll make this quick because that was a bit of a ramble, as I said. My personal experience with 8, because I remember, as I've said a few times, I did start with the anime. Not a decision I'm thrilled with, but I remember finishing 8 and being like, oh yeah, I really liked it. That was a really good ending. And then I got into the visual novel. I'm reading 1 through 7. Loved all of them. Maybe not so much 4. Obviously, that's different now, but back then, not so much 4. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I really loved. And we get to 8, and I'm going through it. And, at first it's all right, I'm a little mixed. And then, it kept going and I'm like, oh, this is cool. It gets to the final chapter. And I'm not going to say what part this was. We'll wait till we get there. But a certain part happened. And I just remember slamming my laptop screen shut and just flailing my arms in a rage. I was 19 when I read this. But I was so angry.
I think I know what part you're talking about.
Could not, for days, a part of it was still there. When I went to read this, I'm like, oh no, this is it. I'm gonna have to come, this is my first time reading it since I was 19. Every other book I've gone back to, but I've been too afraid to come back to this one, if that makes sense. The one that's not a horror is the one I'm afraid to come back to. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. So yeah,
I'm really trying to figure out which one that is.
Oh, I know.
We're gonna be splitting this one into 4 different parts. I think that makes perfect sense. We'll talk about the first 4 parts, which is spoilers. I as if everything else we said already hasn't been spoilers.
Spoilers, Valorant.
The first 4 chapters, which are about Takano backstory. Chapter 5, which is a recount of everything that's happened up until 1983, present day, quote unquote.
Everything.
The lead-in to chapter 11, the prep work, as it were, and then chapter 11.
It's just Takano.
Yeah.
Well, her backstory, which is basically a tragic one. It turns out she's just not cuckoo. And she just doesn't like to torture things. She has a reason for what she's doing.
So can I say right off the bat with that though? And I feel cause when I suddenly got to that and you start to see what's happening at the orphanage, and maybe it was just I was still really pissed at the ending of 7. But it felt tone deaf is maybe the best word I can really think of. And I was thinking why? And the reason why is because this, I feel this should have been something we've heard about before or hinted at before.
This is something that media does sometimes that bothers me, is that mysteries especially, you don't know who the villain is going to be. The villain is exposed. They're horrible. But then you get their backstory.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was feeling really frustrated with that. And then it was just oh, Yui has a sad backstory. Oh, Uishi. It's not just that his friend is dead. It's that his father figure, the man that saved his life.
Yeah, and we'll get to those. I don't mind those as much because they're for regular people, not the villain who took glee in killing an entire village of people.
Yeah.
EDAs especially.
It's very hard to sympathize with that.
Really got into EDAs. Really got into that. But Takano, it's just it feels like it's here because it's all right, well, I want you to feel bad for her, so I'm going to put it here.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's how what I feel too. I feel Takano is a comic book character villain. what can I do to humanize her a bit? Oh, I know. Kill her parents.
How many dead parents do we got over here? What are you, Disney?
Takano couldn't have her parents, so no one else could.
No one could have the holy shit. That's actually not a bad.
Am I wrong?
That's not a bad backstory there. But yeah, it's so with this first part.
Yeah, Takano is basically her parents died in a train accident, and she was sent to an orphanage where she was tortured because that's what happens in orphanages, I guess.
It was like a wartime orphanage?
Yeah, they just wanted the funds. That was the in-universe explanation.
And then she gets... Her father tells her to call Dr. Takano, but she doesn't remember until she remembers. And then the doctor winds up taking care of Takano, and he's still working on his theory of the Hinamumizawa Syndrome. Which is basically a syndrome where people go mad. We all know about this in the previous chapters. And Takano wants to have her grandfather succeed, but no one believes him. Maybe, kind of, also, but they do, but also they don't because of politics.
Well, it was that like they almost believed him, and then it turned out okay. With this first part and some of the and some of chapter 5, it's getting into the politics.
Oh. Yeah, everyone's favorite part of a story about a group of friends.
Oh yeah, totally favorite part.
Random, you and I, we were talking about this.
You want to go first, or should I?
You go first.
I'll sprinkle the seeds for you. How's that? I actually thoroughly enjoy the politics that go into like the villagers versus the government over the dam.
Oh yeah, that's
like
great.
The Oishi stuff, like that I'm into because it directly relates to the people that we care about. Yes. This does not. That's all I have to say, Go.
Yeah, I literally was just gonna say there's only one thing that came to my mind, and that was a scene in Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. That sounds really boring.
And the only thing I have to say about that is a scene from Scott Pilgrim. Oh my god, this is boring. Deleting.
Oh my god, the politics talk. Like I in a story way, I get it. She's centered around she's heavily centered around politics. But could you just like dumb it down? Decrease the word count a bit? Just put it in more layman's terms beside describing how like young people should vote and like how older people are the ones who control the world. And I'm like, come on. If I wanted this, I would have become a politician. Jesus.
The only function that I really think that in this chapter or ballpark of the book that it really serves is and this just mostly just feeds off of what I was complaining about last time. The group of people that are like, oh yeah, this thing exists, this syndrome exists, so yeah, oh yeah. They're just like a bunch of people that think their country is the best and they just want to do whatever they can. It's not actually a group of people who you really have to take seriously, but unfortunately, they're rich. So you kind of have to. And the things that they can get away with are like, oh my god. So it helps. It helps disprove the fact that, like, Hinamizawa Syndrome is as big of a deal as they made it out to be. That's, like, all I got.
There are two problems with this. One, this is dry as bones.
Yes.
This is told so dryly, and it's related to how you're saying it doesn't really relate to our characters. I think the main problem is that it doesn't have characters.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of like when you're in history class and you're just told to memorize the dates of like important battles and stuff. You're not getting like the story. You're not getting the human side of it really. It was really just like the part where you have like the big politician that's like talking a lot of hot air to win over his constituents, and it's like, okay, I kind of get I get what they're going for, and I get the basic idea of this secret society, the Tokyo that rules over a lot of different aspects of the government, and just kind of uses it as a plaything. In fact, I just found out, I think it's like later on when it's just that they just kind of just use it as an excuse to just like fuck around with all the money they have.
Yeah, pretty much.
And all the connections they got. And it's like, I like that kind of stuff. I like conspiracies. I like to learn about like those kind of weird like secret societies, and it's like, fuck, I fucking love Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
But that's still got like characters. They still got story. There's something going on with it, and again, dry, so dry. It's just a history lesson.
It really is, and it vaguely has something to do with Takano, and it's just like you could have cut this down. You could have
really kind of.
For some reason, when Ryokichi talks about politics without characters, or like, and just he just talks politics like this, and just like it's a history lesson.
Yeah, and that's what the
there's
problem
even one
is.
point where the dialogue goes, "Let me explain this," and I'm like, no.
No, please don't.
Please don't. Do what you're good at. Tell the stories of characters, not the stories of the politics.
It's like Ryokichi forgot what he's so good at. He forgot that he's good at characters.
Yeah, like this is actually. This one doesn't really technically have an answer arc, but like, remember Higurashi 4 were the only two characters that we recognized. Pretty much were Oishi and Rika. How still Hinamizawa and Higurashi that felt?
Yeah.
Remember how much politics were there because they kidnapped the grandson? They got to talk about the ransom and the dam war, and how cool it was.
Yeah, because it related to characters.
Yes, like first of all, here's Rika over here talking about how she knows everything. What's that about? Here's Oishi with his air-conditioned car, and then here's the village, and it's like, well, was it Oreo? As we find out later, it's like, more closely related to the people that are actually watching over him. And it's just, how does this... A lot of questions, but also, like, because we learn things from Akasaka's perspective, we're not just being fed. It's like, all right, well, we can engage with this because as Akasaka finds out, the grandson is there. He's returned safe. He finds out a lot about the village that we never knew about of 1978. We learned that through Oishi. And then it's this, and it's just like there's a couple of moments with Takano that I'm like, okay, this is good. But for the most part, it's just like, can we move on?
It is interesting because it doesn't make me feel. It does make me feel a little bad for Takano, but you get to see her madness. So like develop, like you see why she's traumatized, and you can kind of see how she gets from point A to point B.
I think what happens later on actually makes me feel worse more than anything, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So, but like, because like her parents died, then her grandfather got humiliated, and his work literally stepped on. It's fine. Like, it's fine. I part I didn't mind too much. And also, I didn't mind when they did bring Eri in.
Yeah, because it's a character we know!
Yes! Oh, shit. There is something I do want to talk about. Near the end of the chapter of chapter 4.
I forgot about that. Oh my god.
Sees Hanyu.
Yeah. And they have confrontation.
Yeah, they do. And she's just like, I'm gonna become God, bitches. And I'm like, this is where it starts. Okay. And also we just learn how she's controlled the mountain dogs and such. And yeah, because we see our favorite pointy-nosed boy.
His nose could cut wood. It's so sharp.
It's damn, seriously. But yeah, that was the only thing. It and then after that, it was like Higurashi 8, and I'm like, that was the introduction.
Yeah,
this was longer than Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh, let's not get too crazy.
Which, oh god. And speaking of changing fate, and Chapter 5.
The chapter that never ends.
The chapter that nearly made me want to quit this podcast.
It's like, and we didn't have to get through all 50 fragments. I think it was 50 because one of my notes is chapters 5 to 54. So,
God damn.
I mean, to be fair, they're like 20 minutes. 20 times 50. That's our problem with this chapter.
So I mean, some of them, like, the shortest one is only like 8 minutes.
How long is the longest one?
About 20 minutes.
No. There is one that is a half hour.
I don't know the Takano, which one is longer between the Takano and Nomura one or the Akasaka one, but the Akasaka one went by like so much faster.
Akasaka was technically the longest one, but again, it went by so much faster.
Yeah.
The one between Takano and Nomura, which, by the way, I don't know. Speaking of Kingdom Hearts 2,
Yeah.
I don't know why
The
creator of Kingdom Hearts wants to destroy Hinamumizawa, but here we go.
I don't think I went through chapter 5 in a day. I think I did 2. And I'll be honest, of the 3 of us, like, length standalone bothers me the least. And I'm not saying that all 50 of these fragments were a total necessity. Like, I definitely think you could, at bare minimum, get this down to, like, 45 bare minimum. I mean, we all agree it's a cool idea. We all really like the idea.
Oh, yeah.
The issue is it too long? And with me, it's less about is it too long and more does it feel too long? And I never thought this felt too long. I know I'm alone on that. Between the 3 of us, I'm alone on that. But I really like this part.
So I think the issue, and it's something that like Random said that like the one with Akasaka that was longer, but it didn't feel as long. I think the main thing is how much of this is repetitious.
Yes.
It's repetitive. And there are some like brand new information here. If we actually did have like episode titles, which we don't, but if we had, like, this would be the most answers of the answers arc.
Yeah.
Just
They literally try to everything get shoved into this chapter.
Yeah, this is the history of Hinamizawa.
In chronological order, everything is happening. Of what happened, but like what was going on with the this Erie Institute, what was going on with the dam, what happened with the construction foreman, and what happened to each of the victims, in order, in a lot of detail.
Yeah.
The average length of one of these is, I would probably say, like 11 or 12 minutes for an average length. I just think I like it. It is a lot of information, a lot of new information, a lot of old. But what I like about it is that, you know, we got what happened before everything had really started. And now it's almost like we're recollecting on the last 7 books that we've read, playing catch up to get to the point where we are now of, are we going to get this happy ending? You two aren't smitten with him like I am, but I freaking love any of the ones that have Satoshi in them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, especially the, God, it hurts. When he gets the teddy bear, EDA picks him up, and he loses. Long, fought hard. Like, some of his final words are, "I'm sorry, Satoko, I couldn't make it." When he thinks the people from the Institute are coming after him and they give him the sedative, he says, "Look after Satoko," which is what he told Shion, but she never answered. It's just, like, one of the most effective ones is when it's from the Mion's perspective. She feels really bad about what's happening with Satoko. She feels like, and Satoshi, she feels like she should be able to do something about it, but she can't. And Satoshi is like, no, being at school is, you know, the best time of our day. I kind of wish we could be here longer. And Mion's like, oh, I have an idea. Let's start a club. And it's
great.
Like, oh, we get our club origin. I love that. And her and Satoshi brainstorm together about ideas that wouldn't get their aunt mad. And then Satoshi's like, oh, by the way, music stops. Can I have a part-time job? Can you find me one?
Yeah.
Like, oh, no.
No, but not only that, but there's also the point in there where you also see the origin of why the school is so, like, friendly. Because Mian will fucking
Yeah.
kill you if you try to bully
Yeah,
anybody.
pretty much.
Yup. You know what? That's a good anti-bullying policy. Didn't do nothing wrong at all. But you know who did? That I didn't expect? Little Satoko.
Yeah, Satsuko, killed her parents.
Yeah, wow.
Out of all the things, I did not see that coming.
And I'm gonna say this, cause I did have a fear that there was something darker with Satoko, and considering that she was, she's like a victim of child abuse, I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel this, the way the way they handled this actually helped, because she was really just pushed in her mental limit.
I really like that one fragment that we get about Satoko talking about her parents being remarried.
And how that slowly turns red.
Yeah, like, kind of like what happened with Rena in 6, except much faster, because he's already in that bad of a mental state.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. They're gonna kill me. My parents are gonna kill me.
Talking about Satoshi, the one where he's looking for her in the mountains, and he's telling her, like, you were supposed to come home, you know, we're supposed to go for dinner. Satoko's like, no, he's gonna yell at me, he's gonna do this. That wasn't this, Dad, that was another one. Oh, well, this is the one that said this. No, that wasn't this one either. And it's just Satoshi. I mean, like, okay, a lot with Satoshi, but to stick on Satoko, just like how far in she is, that it's like she doesn't even recognize which one is which anymore. It's just things are so bad.
That I also like, because like on the outside, it looks like she's just lying about her father. But when you see, like, because of how much stress she went through, and because of weirdly, the Hinamizawa Syndrome kind of worked in Satoko's favor.
It's not like, oh, my life is great. Wait a minute, my dad just told me, go clean your room. I'm gonna push him off a bridge. I've been through 4 different dads, and 3 of them have hated me. The 4th one started hating me. My mom hates me unless she's getting married to somebody. It's just like all this horrible stuff going through. And again, I hate to keep bringing it back to him, but Satoshi just forcing himself, I'm the only one who can help her. I'm the only one who can help her. All that puts him through, and it's, I feel so bad for these two.
I felt bad for him too.
And especially like the moment where it was like he's protecting Satoko, and there's just like a little voice inside his head that's just like, I could crush her right now. And he just feels so guilty about that. Fuck. God damn.
And he's like crying. He's crying about it. Like, he just feels awful. And all EDA can do is console him and keep him on the baseball team, just help him vent. I don't really think EDA did much wrong in that instance, and it's very human for Satoshi to think that. It's just like, God, this poor kid.
Speaking of EDA, he felt guilty his own, because...
Yeah.
And you know what? This is how you do a backstory and feel bad about it. Because like he did some horrible shit according to Takano, but at the same time he did it just because his father wanted to see him happy, but his father also went through a lot of trauma where he hit his head, and he started like acting more violent because of it, and his father and his mother wound up hating his father because of it, and she couldn't understand what was going on. So in a way, he did that as almost like to make up the sins he felt for his family. My point is, I really feel for Ire in this chapter, and like, if there was any point, like, most doubts that he was the main, like, he was evil in any way, shape, or form were gone at that point, but by the time we really learn about his backstory, it's all gone. Like, you know his heart's in the right place.
I think I was still off the trying to get, like, giving Takano a sad backstory. It's like, oh, now fucking everybody gets a sad backstory. Ha! Where's Tomatake? Oh, Tomatake, like, his sister died and says, I promise I will be an auditor for secret society.
Tomatake, like, you want to know what we get from Tomatake here? He is straight.
Yeah!
Well, That's what we've always known.
We've always known that, but now, like, because we get his perspective, he is so straight.
Oh my god! Like,
like half of it's like internal thoughts are humana.
And then he's like, "You're depressed? I'll support you." Literally.
Does this mean we can make out?
when he's talking to Takano about photography, he's like, I want to believe that she's into me. It's like, dude, you're talking about birds. You're literally talking to her about birds. Calm down.
She's like talking about like, she's like, wow, she wouldn't be around. She's not just being around me for work. She does like me. And I'm like, this fucker is gonna kill you. They've killed you 7 times.
The thing is, like, later on, they, like, changed that where it's, like, Takano is into Tomatake, though. Even though he's ready to kill.
Well, we'll get there when we get there.
But don't worry.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
One more thing. Can I just say, like, it was at the point where, like, Tomatake was taking pictures and Takano just wasn't having any of it that I had to skip some because I was just so tired. I was so tired of hearing familiar shit, and I didn't want, and I was just like,
you know, we've been talking about this for a while, and most of what we've been talking about is like, oh yeah, like that's really, really good. It's just like that little bit that it's like not so good because it's such a long chapter that it's just like, oh man.
It's so draining when it's not good.
And again, fortunately, there's 51 of them, and the recap ones, which factor in for like 7 or 8, are really short. So I will say there's 40 long ones, or longer. There, how's that? And of those 40, like, I would genuinely say at least like 3/4 of them work, at least.
This chapter was the one that made me realize, oh shit, this actually is longer than the Bible.
Kind of roaring to talk about what's next, not because it's good or bad, but just because, you know, it's exciting. We're back in 83. Things are going along. Yep. Hanyu's here. Oh. And
Hanyu's here, and her sprite is awful.
So bad.
I thought it was
It's a cute outfit, I'll grant, but like the sprite is not.
No.
What is with the arm? Literally, what's going on with the arm? Like, I can understand that as like a specific stance that she has for like celebrating, but that's literally what she's doing at all times.
Yeah.
She's happy to participate, I guess.
But even when she's like frowning or she's crying or angry, literally, she just always has her hands up, and it's like, your arms are tired. Put them down. I know you're a big defender on the Ryukishi art, and I can understand that. And
okay, how's this? I have a problem with the stance. I don't have a problem with the sprite. It's the stance.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I thought the sprite was cute. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh.
So I remember I'm going through chapter 6. They're like building up Hanyu. Hanyu's like, ow, ow, ow. Like, she can't even introduce herself. She has to ask Rika for help. Everyone's like freaking out over her. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. And then Rena and Keiichi start just talking about the stuff to each other. And I'm like, oh, I like this. Like, I'm going from like, all right, like literally when Hanyu exits the picture, I'm like, ah.
Can I be honest with you? Once she got her like confidence in her and stopped saying ow, ow, ow even every 5 seconds, she became like more energetic and more encouraging. She became almost like a cheerleader, almost like encouraging people when they were down. And you know what? I like that. It gave her a bit of a purpose.
I love Hanyu even more. I'm kidding. No, I didn't care. I didn't care for this time. And in fact, although this is more of a problem as we're getting along, but when she just started to act like really smug, I was getting pissed again with how smug she was with Rika. again, it's just like you're a god, you've lived for thousands of years, and you've learned one thing, and now you're gonna lord over everybody about that. I was getting pretty pissed with that. It's just like with her like admonishing Rika, just like seriously, like we just spent an entire book with you just being like, oh, there's no use, and now you're just being like, oh, I always knew that. I was not a fan, no.
The thing that pissed me off, I will say this, it wasn't even like, it's not Hanyu or Rika pissed me off, it was the writing that did. It was when, well, first off, when she tumbles down the hill and they see Takano and Tomatake for the first time. And the one thing that made me laugh and almost kind of shocked me a bit, I didn't expect, was monster. And I was just like, whoa, hex.
Yeah.
But after that, like, this is when Hanyu like starts like, oh shit, and because she remembers, and Rika,
that I hate that so much.
I hated it. I was like, Ryukichi, why the fuck?
Remembering, I'm totally fine. Like, of course she needs to remember. Why not Rika?
Why? Other than to just maybe add another few paragraphs.
It really doesn't do anything except just pad it.
No, like, so it's like, okay, that's fair, but it's clear that Hanyu is the only one that remembers this, right? Like, if Rika can't remember, there's no way that any of the club members remember, or like Hirie, Tomatake, well, I mean, not that they would remember anyway, but you know what I mean. Which means that I don't think this harms 7 in any way. This is a problem I just have with 8, but like, do you remember when Rika told Satoko to face her uncle and conquer her fears, and Satoko shouted, "Save me," and finally spoke up against that horrible person? No one remembers.
Yeah.
Nope. This wasn't that whole scene where Rika doesn't remember. That wasn't the part where he made you put your laptop down, was it?
No. We're still not there. That's chapter 11.
Okay. I think I know where I am. I think I know where it is, but we'll see. Yeah. Can we talk about the reuniting of the two bro cops?
Yeah, okay. I have to say this. When you guys were when I know Random already said this, but we can actually talk about it now. When he called Akasaka Nicholas Angel and Wash went, I don't think so. I just remember thinking, like, God, just wait till they get to 8.
I knew it from the beginning. Like, he was like an untrained rookie then, but now he literally is
God.
Nicholas Angel.
Especially chapter 11, holy crap. But even when, like,
holy shit.
Irie goes to check up on him, and he brings, like, you know, juice pack, whatever, and he brings beer, and he's like, that's suspicious. Why the hell would you do this?
And then you hear that his music, and it's like, he's just like super happy just to see Akasaka again, and it's like, they weren't even like that. They didn't even know each other for that long. They were only like assignment for a few days, but they were so close, and it just was so nice to see the two of them again. And not only that, it's important to the story because not only does Akasaka find out about the murders, but he finds out that what Rika told him in book 4 came to prophesize. And Uichi finds out that Rika prophesized this and is like, oh shit.
And also, Akasaka is directly involved with an investigation into something that turns out to be pretty adjacent to the Erie Institute. And he notices, wait a minute, that sounds really familiar. Wait a minute.
He remembered because of the fragments.
And his love for Oishi.
I literally made the joke to watch, like, Akasaka, so, is there anything to do around here? Wishi, I don't know, pub?
And you know, he'd either say pub or mahjong. It's one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
They murdered Tomatake. Rika, you murdered him, the Mountain Dogs. He murdered photography.
Annoying.
Is there anything else to discuss in the, I guess the planning stage?
There is the plan.
Well, I think I mentioned this in the last one, and when you have characters explaining the plan on screen, it usually is gonna go wrong because it's just how fiction tends to work, and that's how you create tension.
And technically it doesn't, but also it does.
It doesn't. It does. They have the plan. It's like, okay, what we're gonna do is we're going to fake Rika's death, and we're going to make it so that he had been dead for 48 hours. Immediately, my response is, wait, somebody. Yuri has been checking up on that house for a while now. Like this doesn't hold. It kind of works for confusion to like throw them off their game, throw them off their schedule, make them like rush things a little bit more. But like it also means that they immediately thinking something's gone wrong with Yuri. Something's fishy with him. If he's been checking up on that house and there's just happening to be like a dead body. Like I didn't really understand that, and I didn't get why like everybody was just like, oh, it's so obvious, and Hanyu is just like, oh, I know what it is. Oh, you're so stupid for not knowing what it is.
Okay, so this is what bothers me. Like I could see Mion getting it, I can say Kichi and Satsuko getting it at the same time. Are you really telling me that Rena can't figure this out?
Yeah, like seriously, she's the smartest one out of all of you.
Yeah, like the person who could figure out what happened in Higurashi 2 because of Sauce. She can't figure this out. Like, no.
Like, even if you were like, Kichi and Satoko trying to figure it out, the last ones, that would have, or even Rika, because Rika.
I get Rika not figuring it out, because I mean Rika's been living all this time, and it's only recently towards the end that she really kind of had the know-how to do stuff. So Rika, I get. It's just why Rena?
It felt like this should have been fixed in a rewrite.
Yeah, it's like, ugh. I mean, we'll I have something to add to that, but I'll save it for chapter 11. Is there anything else, or are we ready to end the story?
We mentioned it briefly, but the meetup between Akane?
Oh, right, yeah. Akane, Shion, and Oishi, yeah.
Yeah, Shion and Oishi, where Oishi goes to visit the grave of the construction foreman.
Oh,
sees the flowers that he always sees when he comes to visit. And that's when he finds out that it's the Stonazakis that are handing over those flowers. But fresh from Orio's garden, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And he's spent like 3/4 of the conversation just kind of confused on how they can forgive each other with everything that's happened with the damn conflict. But for the Sonozakis, it's just like the conflict is over. Like if he was alive, like we probably would have just like had some like brought him over to just have some sake and just like have some laughs about what happened, because we got aggressive, but like we're still human.
Specifically, we feel bad for him being dead.
And you know what? That's, I think, is the moment where he starts to forgive them.
I mean, even if he can't do it right away, you know, like that's when the seed is set, so to speak.
And she also asked him about a parking ticket, which sounds like a joke, but
that was cute. I like that a lot.
I'll just say this one little line that made me laugh was Xiang was talking about, oh, I bit him, I elbowed his stomach, I scratched up his car with a 10-yen coin, and her mom is like, the statutes of limitations aren't up yet.
I love that so much.
Legally, do not say this to a cop.
Like, at this point, probably like 140 hours in, and Shion is still being Shion. Like,
I like it though.
Okay. I said this last time. I don't think either of you believe me, but it's like I genuinely love Shion for all the reasons I complain about her. She is a ticking time bomb just waiting to be set off. I love it. it's just really funny to be like, God, Shion, why?
I heard someone describe, like, I love Shion. She does everything wrong.
Yes. Oh my God, that is Shion. Yes.
And you know what?
Look, Mion did nothing wrong.
it.
Shion did everything wrong. It fits.
I feel like it's a good encapsulation of Higurashi, of forgive and forget, and just try to build up relationships and just build up new friendships. Live.
All right. I've got nothing else. Are we good for chapter 11? Are we good to end the Bible?
We skipped over a lot, but let's get right to it.
We'll probably come back to it if we want to, but
sure.
So so how do we want to tackle? Do you want to just start with Oishi?
Well, I was gonna start from the very beginning where Takano freaks the fuck out.
Oh, that felt good. Because it felt great. It
felt good
because Okanogi is like, okay, there's very obviously something wrong here, and he's just trying to think, but Takano just won't stop screaming.
Yeah.
And Okanogi's like, I love this observation. Okanogi's like, God, it's so early, even the bugs are quiet. And even then, this little princess won't shut her mouth.
But yeah, that's literally just the first part of is them panicking.
I love the contrast of Takano and Okanogi. And even how Takano kind of gets to him because he's like, he looks at the second hand moving and he's like, we're wasting time. But he's only bothering him because there's somebody freaking out over here.
Yup, it made me go, yeah. And
can I confession, honestly, Random is the Hanyu defender. I'm the Okanogi defender. After this, I'm the Okanogi defender.
No, I agree 110%.
He's pathetic.
He's pathetic and slimy, but he has to deal with Takano.
It's so funny though because it's when you realize that it's oh, he's the one who almost killed Oishi and Akasaka in Higurashi 4, and it's oh, he was such a scary threat back then. But now it's just he talks big, but once there's a competent threat, it's just oh.
Yeah, I think after that's when we get
yeah, with Oishi, yeah.
The police station scene. He is Uichi, the most he can do is just stall for time and not have him leave. And it gets to the point where he
at first it's just a conversation where he's so clearly stalling. We're just hey, don't you want to come on for mahjong? You've been doing so great last time.
So you think I'm stalling?
I love when he's oh yeah, I wrote that stuff for you. And everyone was it looked so bad. He came up with an excuse that wasn't me. And the guy's just okay, gonna see the body already?
And then he says okay, and then Utaka actually gets to the point, and he just they have a back and forth where he tried to make some sort of excuse to go back and just we could have had this could have been a phone call, and then Utaka is well, I would like to witness the autopsy. And he was just no. No. Just flat out, no.
And then it gets to this whole thing where he's I'm not letting you through. Do you have the police?
Your boss is planning something.
Yeah, he calls him out. He's you need the police spirit to get through here. And one of my favorite things.
Grabbed an arm.
Yep, grabs his arm. And then at one point, you just see Uichi going, come on! And just... You see his sprite zoom in.
Yeah,
zooms in, not the suspenders.
Oh, it was such a great way for Higurashi to tell he's coming for you. And they actually don't get into a fight.
I say fight. That would imply that that Uichi was ever in the defensive.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh god, it was great. And but the cherry on top of that scene.
What a Tokyo Godfathers level coincidence here.
Oh my god. Is when what's his name again? When the dumb cop is because he's literally an idiot. And he's you know what? I'll tell you who told me. It was Sonozaki, Congressman Sonozaki. And everyone's oh my god, Sonozaki. And then I just hear, whee! And I'm oh shit. literally, you see the daughter, you see Mion's mom, and then you hear an old voice, and you're like, and he's like, and the old guy's like, you know Sonozaki? He's like, yes, of course I do. We go way back. He's the one who shorted me, all right, no question about it. And Uichi and Mion's mom are shooting the shit, and literally just like, and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the punchline, and they both put their arms on him, and he reveals his true identity, and the sound effects speak for themselves.
I like that Uichi, like, he introduces them as, like, members, like, presidents of the Kendo Club. And, oh, by the way, also, you might know him as Representative Sonozaki.
And then they're like, oh, but we love Kendo. We're going to take you there, and we're going to give you some lessons.
Shiitake mushroom, I never understood them. I don't want them in my soup. And lies.
That's a really good quote.
It's so good. Oh, and the first part ends there. I was watching chapter 11 all throughout the day, and I was late to work because I finished that scene. And you know what? It was worth it. Oh god, it was so good. And then
after that, they start to ask Yuri what was going on, and he's just like, I was checking up on her. She seemed okay. I don't know what's going on. And then Takano blurts out like, we gotta stop this. Like, they would misunderstand. And Yuri's like, who would misunderstand? And it's like, never mind.
Forget I said anything. She started getting the panicking where she's like, she can't trust anybody. At this point.
And then she gets the call from Nomura, who makes a metaphor about an airplane that, like, you can't have it delaying too much, or else the flight is gonna get canceled. You get what I'm saying? She spilled coffee. I wrote that in my notes for some reason. She spilled coffee because one of the goons tried to calm her nerves, and it just made it way worse.
Weird. If either of you thought of this, I'll be impressed. But there were a fair few scenes in chapter 11 where they make it a point that coffee is spilt. So I was waiting for towards the end. I wasn't waiting for it. I just thought about this going through it. But Takano's by herself. She's defeated. Everybody hates her. I was just waiting for Super Mario Brothers movie extended cut style, somebody to go up to her and be like, here's your coffee.
It's poured on her head.
Remember the Bloodhounds?
It's poured on her head, yeah. No, pour the coffee on the scrapbook.
Oh, that would have been great.
That is a head though. I knew it while we're talking about coffee. I have to bring it up now, or else I'll forget.
No, I understand, because it would have been actually great if the Bloodhound's been like, "All right, time to rescue you. Hey, here's the coffee you got." Oh shit! And he drops on the scrapbook.
After the spilled coffee, it cuts over to Tomotake's hotel.
They find him.
They find him. They have a big chase scene where he jumps out of a window, and he jumped over the goons, which tells me that they're really bad at this. But then they capture him anyway.
Yeah. They're like, I'm gonna run into you! Ah! We captured Tomotage.
Biggest laugh is Tomotake's, I'm a charging train. Trains don't grin. Ah! He screams, zooms in, cuts to black. We got him. Oh, that was easy.
He tried. The poor man tried.
It's so funny. Once you're done laughing, you're like, oh no, they got Tomotage. He's gonna die again.
We got an
yeah, we did.
Oh yeah, of him being angry.
Yeah.
That was new.
And then Yuri finds out, oh shit, why is he tied up? And then and then Takano plays it off like, oh, he's contracting Hinamumizawa Syndrome. We gotta treat him. And while Yuri knows what's going on, he's like, yeah, we should. Yuri tries to escape.
Yeah, the idiot forgets his car keys.
Yeah, fucking idiot.
What a chump.
This I'm gonna ask Kirby. that wasn't the point where you wanted to close your laptop, right?
No.
Okay,
no.
then I definitely know what it is.
We're at chapter 11 now, so you're good guess, but no.
No, I had a feeling. I definitely know what it is now.
I mean, I only say like idiot, you idiot. I mean, I do that all the time. I'll go to start the car in the morning. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot my keys. He's in a state of panic. Like he's not thinking. I mean, it's not like Hinamumizawa Syndrome. It's just he's worried.
Yeah.
So it's like okay. It's just also like God.
It's dumb, but also like they literally explain in the narration that like Yui is a civilian. He's not trained like Akasaka to know that like he just has to go. Like
I call him an idiot out of frustration because I'm like, God damn it, you need to get out of there. Things would be so much less anxiety inducing if you just didn't. You went on foot and just didn't get your keys. But no, he gets caught. And they do a car chase. Where they're just like chasing Eri down, and it's just like they chase him down, they shoot down his tires, he crashes into the forest, and there's
he almost died,
and his legs are shaky, he can't leave very well, and they're ready to shoot him.
But you know who comes to help him out?
In the most Tokyo Godfather coincidence possible.
Like Shion is there or whatever, but you know who else is there to help him out?
Kasai!
Yes!
I said, trying looking all over to find it. Kasai! You know what? You guys can have your Uishi. Kasai's my guy.
It was honestly great to see him again.
I love Kasai. Kasai is like, he doesn't have, like, what he has is great.
He's the dark horse of the series.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot, but what he has is so good.
Yeah, he's
so hot. He's just so cool.
There's a scene that I really want your take on. We'll get to it, but I really want your take on it.
I will say before that they meet with Ire, there is a scene where Akasaka, they do cut to Akasaka, just Nicholas Angeling up the mountain dogs.
Yeah. I love, because while everybody else is like super struggling, Akasaka's just like, I thought it would take 2 punches, but it only took 1.
Yeah.
He's just a Superman now.
He really is. And my favorite thing is the sprite of his fist.
Oh my, okay. Ryukishi art is perfect. It's just that
he would murder people with those oven mitts, and it's just like, I love that he runs away and then he's like, no, all right, time to go the other way, and they're like, what the fuck? Because they're already like tired because they don't know how, they weren't expecting to deal with him, and then he takes them out with 1 punch. And we don't see him for a while, and I'm like, okay, they're doing this for a reason. When is he gonna come back? And it takes a while, let's just say that, but we're not after that. Then we get back to Kasai and Shion. We also learn, like, and they literally rescue him in the nick of time, and they're like, let's get him to shelter. They won't know that they're there. But then it's like, but they didn't know that there was a collar on.
There's a tracking device on his coat.
And I'm like, for fuck's sake! As a writer, I'm like, you just mentioned that now.
Yeah.
Like, that pissed me off as a writer because I was just like,
there's a lot of, you're mentioning this now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to.
I love when they find out that they've been tailed. Nobody thinks to yell at Kasai. The immediate reaction is, Shion, you idiot.
Because Shion was supposed to watch, she's like, no one was following. It's like, they followed you. They were totally behind you.
What a disaster of a character.
I think you guys are being a little too harsh.
Are you?
Name me one thing that Shion has done right so far.
At all? I mean, at all. It's like, immediately just like, let me check your coat. I found it.
That's later, though. But, yes, that is something, technically.
That is something. She's done one thing.
Well, it's something.
All right, got me there, I guess.
Anyway, they start, like, getting into the... The mountain dogs storm it. I wonder what happened to the rest of the Sonozaki residents. Do you think they would have more guards? But apparently they're all at the festival, I guess.
No, that's well established. It's only ever really Oreo, the housekeeper, and Mion. They're all the only people that are like ever really around.
And I guess the housekeeper is like at the festival or preparing for it.
Yeah, no, it's festival prep day. Nobody's at the manor. I think that's where Oreo is as well. Mion was only there because, her friend's life is in danger.
Yeah.
So it was just them. That adds up. That adds up.
And then they just all are locked in the torture room basement, which is interesting now.
Oh, fun memories.
Yeah. Remember that place? Good times. Now we're trying to stay. Now it's a safe place. The irony is not lost on me. But it's just, it gets, and then they're just, first they try to ram it like Gaston does in Beauty and the Beast. And then they're like, no, explosives. Eventually they're like, explosives. Wait, no, that'll alert the whole town. Wait a minute.
What time is it?
It's 10:30. Perfect! But he's like, oh shit, they're gonna think it's a firework. Shion and Kasai try to gun them down. Jesus Christ. But they turn out to be bargaining chips, pretty much. And he's like, look, we want Rika and Ire. But mostly Rika, because apparently we don't care about him. And Rika's like, no, I can't let anybody die. This is the final world. And I don't want anyone else to die. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I get it, but also Shion.
I'll be the one to say, I did not want Shion to die there.
No, I didn't either, honestly. I didn't want anyone to die. Because,
well, yeah, of course.
if there's one thing I learned, if someone dies, it's over.
Yeah. I mean, Tomitake is always, like, the one that starts it off. But if it's really anybody, like, you want that happy ending. Even if everything works out. If Shion is dead, Kasai is dead, Tomitake, it's not a happy ending.
Yeah, it's not. Not a happy for anybody. If anyone dies.
Yeah.
But Okonogi didn't care.
Yeah, Konogi was just like, I'm glad I got you. You're alive. And it really cuts to her, like, him about to, like, stab her with, like, something to make her fall asleep. And he's like, I just have to pray that I'll wake up and still be okay and my friends will rescue me. And I'm like, oh, shit, this is where the chapter ends. And then we're going to have to spend the whole time trying to rescue Rika. But then...
well, if Okonogi is going to break his promise, somebody's got to keep his.
Morning.
You just hear, Rika, I came to help you. Let me tell you, that made me so nostalgic because everybody used to meme about that, but nobody really does anymore.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first read it and people were memeing about it, and I'm like, oh, come on, you and your dirty Mayans. I went through it this time. I'm like, no, they had a point.
I went with that too.
No, that's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny.
It's literally just the one frame.
Yeah. I came. Oh god, it's not Akasaka. To hell! Oh my god.
No.
So Akasaka is a kung fu master, just a karate champ, just fighting everybody, and Rika just be like, I'll draw some pictures for him.
Yeah. He literally just like, again, I could have quoted this again, morning, and just murders, well, doesn't murder, but like messes with all the everybody individually. And he's like, we should get more, and Okanogi's like, we need more people to help. Oh, wait, all my combat specialists are in the basement. Fuck.
And then it's like, I'll get him myself.
Yep. And he's like, you remember me? From back in 90... you were a scrawny back then. Let's see if you improved. And then Akasaka just embarrasses him. And
now Okanogi kicks him in like the hip. And his response is to go, weak. Oh, sorry, what's that? I couldn't hear you. Weak.
Too light.
Light, too late. Yeah.
Just, and like not Okanogi, Akasaka like punches right next to Okanogi's head and just crushes the van.
And Okanogi feels so defeated that he just like collapses.
He just collapsed, and it just takes him like 10 minutes to collect him. No, the like right before that happened, he said, "I'm Okanogi of the Mountain Gods," and Akasaka is like, "Good for you."
And then eventually they just run and retreat.
Yeah, so let's get this, only because it's like he barely did anything in 7, and I know he liked him well enough in 4. Akasaka being Nicholas Angel, I think, is a really good move.
Yeah.
It's a good glow
it doesn't feel like a Deus Ex Machina at all, because like we've known him since book 4. And he's even set up to be in Hinamizawa in book 7. So it doesn't feel like he comes out of nowhere. And he's also set up earlier in the chapter too. So like
that's another thing. That like he's set up earlier in this book. Like we know that he's gonna be coming back. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, and he just comes. It's so good. It's so like I was like this is the point. Like chapter 5 felt like a drag at points. And chapter 6 and through 10 was like I was starting to get into it, but it had its low points. This was a ride. This was a ride.
This scene has like one of the best tracks ever. The music that like hard piano like it's I love it.
So good, and just it's so satisfying to see Okanogi, who has planned everything mostly from the beginning, just get outmatched.
Yeah,
this is only the first time.
Yeah, and it's like I said before, you know, when Takano was like freaking out, Okanogi's the one that's actually like, okay, I'm actually competent.
Like this is literally my job.
Yeah.
Okanogi has the first like 2-3 hours completely under his control. And then Akasaka came and it just changed everything.
Yep, it did.
And he spends like the rest of the chapter being like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get that fucking bat. He never did, and he
never did.
We'll get to that.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
It cuts over back. Shion actually goes deaf in the left ear.
Yeah.
It's really sad. Really sad, actually.
But there's some good news. That Ire decides to.
Yeah, it drops. Yeah.
Just drop right at the end. Like, you gotta tell us this now.
He's alive, and Shion goes from like sad to determined to help out now. But I will say, Shion does do something smart, and she's like, I'm gonna help them out, and Mion's like, what the fuck? No, you can barely hear from your left ear, and she's like, I can't say what's going on. If I do, Satoko want to come with me, and I can't have that. And I'm like,
Mion picks that up.
Yeah, and then Mion's like, oh shit. Fine.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's something right Shion did.
I like, we don't get a lot of it, but I do like the sisterly moments we get between Mion and Shion here. There's that one. There's Mion being like, Shion, get down here. Like, come on, you can escape with us. But, you know, she stays behind, and Mion thinks that Shion is gonna die, and she's just like wailing and screaming. It's like,
oh, yeah.
There's good stuff with them here.
Oh, yeah. Like, you hear Mion wail like Shion has in the past.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, damn. Like, and you hear her freak out a bit. Like, what am I supposed to do? Leave her to die? And like, this sounds like something Shion would say with Satoko in like chapter 7. And I'm like, oh wow, it's nice to hear that coming from Mion.
Yeah.
Also, my shipping alarm went off a bit when Shion's like, I lost the man that was supposed to be with me. Hey, my sister hasn't. And Kiyochi's like, what? What does that mean? And I'm like, stupid. You dense motherfucker.
There's literally a point in like,
well, as they say at the end of the story, he wouldn't be Keiichi if he wasn't dense.
I know, but like, I know I wanted Rena and Ichi as a ship, but now I want Ichi and Mion as a ship. I do.
Just poly it up.
Poly it up.
Although, I guess while we're talking about, well, you brought up Keiichi. Do you remember the last, not 4, but otherwise, the like 6 of the 7 last stories, where like the whole point of them, partially, was how important Keiichi was? Like, you need Keiichi in order, that's why he was the protag for so long, even though this turns into Rika's story. Keiichi is the protag for so long because he's so pivotal into getting this right.
Yeah, I remember.
What does Keiichi do?
They said something about like, oh, he's such a great talker because he sounded like a screaming soldier.
Being generous, there's one thing.
Does he come up with the plan?
No.
That's Hanyu.
No, you gotta remember, that's Hanyu. Because we gotta love Hanyu. That's bad enough. Good lord, Rena did not even have to be here.
No!
Oh my
Holy
god.
shit, no.
She literally did, like, talk about going against like the point of the story by having Keiichi do nothing, but it's like he had a presence. Rena, she could have not been there and the story would not have changed. She did nothing.
There was like one moment where it's like they put a bucket on a soldier's head and she goes, so cute, and like smacks it with a stick. That's it.
Yeah.
And
well, that was a great moment.
Like, what is different between doing that and the bucket falling on the guy's head? Satsuko going, oh, that's my trap, and Satsuko just like baiting him into going after her and she pulls another trap out. Or Rika going, me, saying something cute and pulling out something else.
Yeah.
Or even like Keiichi, like a bucket falls on his head. Keiichi has a bat, swings the bat on his head, like, ow. Like, it didn't. Rena, oh god. And that makes me so, I mean, obviously, for the obvious reason that she's my favorite character, but it's like, especially when it's Keiichi and Rena, because those are, and even in Higurashi 8, they make a point about this. Like, Keiichi and Rena are, like, the really important ones. They're the most observant. Keiichi is the one with the most energy to get things done. Like, they're, like, the pivotal pieces, and they do nothing.
At the ending of chapter 5, literally they've said multiple times, we need an outsider to save us.
Yes. And if we can get more than one, that's good.
If we get more than one, that's great. But yeah, but
if you want to get back on track, that's fine.
It turns into Home Alone. It turns into Home Alone.
It's Home Alone meets First Blood. Really.
Yeah. And you know what? That music makes it so good.
I like the one scene where it's like, hey, I'm out here in an open field. You can come and get me. Listen, I'll get a bet with you. If you can take 5 steps without going into a trap, then I'll get and
I'll surrender.
And he's like, oh, and everybody's like, no, don't do it. It's a trap. He's like, oh, wait, I got it. I'll walk 5 steps backwards. You're already in a trap. Ah! Can I? Okay, I feel like I said, I don't remember where it was, but it's like sometime like in like earlier in the series, I was thinking, where the fuck are Satsuko traps? We've been hearing about these traps since book 1. Where are the traps gonna come
we get a
into play?
sampling of them, but that's all we really get.
Yeah, but this is where it all pays off, and you know what?
It all pays off with this.
You know what? It was fun. It was fun just to see the mountain dogs crumble.
I enjoy Satsuko a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
even
for
Rika,
Satsuko specifically, yeah.
Yeah, even Rika and even Hanyu, they work on the and Mion is like shows off her stuff as a strategic leader.
Yeah, as a leader, yeah. I like that with Mion a lot too.
Yeah. So
it's just Rena and Keiichi.
Yep, they just kind of just do what they're told and they don't do anything, but it's fun. It's fun. And you know what? Seeing the people who have been behind the scenes causing trouble for 7 books now, whether we knew it or not, get their comeuppance in this Home Alone hijinks. It's a bit 2000s, but it works.
It's fun. I do. Once, I close my eyes whenever I see Keiichi and Rena on the screen. If I can do that, I have a lot of fun with it.
Meanwhile, we get
oh boy,
we get the Erie Institute.
Those poor security guards playing poker.
Yeah, and Kasai's like, nobody move. And then it cuts to like there's a whole point where there's like a gas threat, and I'm like, Jesus. And then
Kasai gets real. I, Tatsuyoshi Kasai, am giving you the chance to live. Aren't you a bit grateful for that, you pieces of shit? What's the matter with you?
He just explodes.
He has a completely different voice. He becomes Shotgun Tatsu. and Shion is just like, what the fuck? and okay, I was saying before how much I love Kasai. I really love Gentle Giants, And that's what I like about Kasai, is that like he's a tough guy, but he's very chill. I really love when you get a tough guy who's pushed too far, and she becomes a completely different person like this. I just love that.
I would call him a beast.
Skipping ahead, but the epilogue, I love that Kasai's take on all this was, it was pretty normal, but it's really unfortunate that I had to freak out like that. That's just his takeaway of the whole experience.
I didn't need to do that, but...
And honestly, they like are calling his bluff, and then it takes him like shooting in the actual gun, and he's like, "Okay, we'll stop. We'll turn off the alarm. We'll turn off the alarm."
It's too bad though that that nobody picked up that there's a what is it? Oh, a false alarm procedure.
Yeah, that's Okanogi. I think it was Okanogi that figures that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he figured it out, but it turns out that didn't matter anyway because they were dying.
There's still more in the clinic. Because Shion is Shion.
Yep.
And she gets captured.
So what are our collective thoughts on Made in Heaven?
I loved it. It was I thought it was fitting, and I thought it was so I knew what the punchline was gonna be the moment like we got to like the second line. I stopped like I was like reading it, but also like didn't care about what. Like, I didn't, like, read the words, but I knew the direction where it was going. Because I knew that what the joke was. And then I got to Made in Heaven, I'm like, oh god. And then he just goes on this long, long monologue about this guy being in a maid outfit. And then Shion's like, it's okay. Akasaka got the guy already. He's like, no!
But I'm not done talking to him about maids.
I thought it was funny.
It is a trip going through this with the voice acting turned on.
Oh, God.
When he just, like, has his ultimate freak out and goes, oh, Made in Heaven!
I couldn't help. I died.
Yeah, I am assuming that Wash thought it was a little extra, but I'll be perfectly honest, like, I'm with Random on this. I just think it's so dumb.
Funny.
It's so... I don't know why, but the line that has stuck with me ever since I read it was, you can only be a maid until you reach a certain age, then you're a housekeeper, and there's a difference. And I'm like, God, this guy, like, knows everything
about maids.
And then Kasai and Akasaka is just like, oh, yeah, it's okay.
But I haven't finished talking to him about maids.
You know what? Yeah, I thought it was the best way Irie could have helped.
What I love about Made in Heaven especially is that Irie, like, I have to help, but I have been doing everything wrong all day. I'm not built like Akasaka and Kasai. What is something that only Irie can do? What else would you pick?
And he takes out a mechanical pencil and it's like, ah! And the guy's like, ow, ow. What are you doing?
Turns out this is a drug that Takano's been working on.
What? Oh no.
No, my favorite is that the guy is like, oh god, I know how shady Takano is, I have to believe him. And Shiona's just like, really?
Yep. They go down to the basement. They
Tomatake.
Satoshi and Tomatake. That's right. Oh yeah, Tomatake is gonna come into play later. Tomatake doing more than Casey and Rena.
Yeah.
They explain the situation. And they even have the teddy bear still waiting in the other room, which is really sad.
We can skip the rest if you want, but the one part that is just like, I have to bring attention to this is when, you know, he tells Shion that, you know, like, don't wake Satoshi up. He's not in any condition to be around anybody or whatever. Like, you know, he's still really stressed. You know, she's crying. And then she says, you know, she asks, well, like, I think, like, she comes to the conclusion that it's like, oh, I'll never actually get to see him again. He'll never wake up. And she asks him, you know, will I ever get to see him again? And he's like, this is why I became a doctor. These two aren't my parents, but this is it.
Oh, yeah.
As a doctor, like, I can't tell her. There are no absolutes in science. But, like, who am I if I can't do this? And he starts to cry and he tells her he'll come back. And she says, can I come down and read him stories? Can I hold his hand? He says that's absolutely fine. It's really nice. It's really nice.
It is.
And that is why it's like the EDA backstory from earlier, just like it really hits.
Yeah, it paid off. This is the moment where it all paid off for EDA. And yeah, it was an emotional scene. I think I got a bit teary-eyed here. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I cried.
I really liked the line from Sian was like, I completely forgot about this part of fantasy, but like the line she says, "Will he never rub my head again?"
Oh,
that's really the whole thing. It was all because of that one rub.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's the only one who treated her like that, and that's what she wanted. She thought that she just made it interesting for her, like, and it's just she's never gonna get that back.
And then it cuts to Hot Fuzz. It just becomes Hot Fuzz.
it literally becomes.
Yeah.
It's the scene in the grocery store where they're like ramming a cart into the two guys into the butcher.
Only in this they have a freaking RPG.
They have an RPG. They're ready to shoot this thing down. But also, guess what? Katsai isn't in that. He's 400 meters away as a sniper, and Xian is the spotter.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
There's what Xian did right. She's a good spotter.
Honest to God. Hell, that was so badass, just seeing them drive through the car.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Akasaka's like, oh, it's running right into it.
And you know what's great? We're like, oh shit. They have people with guns chasing after her. Who's gonna shoot? And then we're like, oh wait, did you know Tomotage was in the was an arms train? Was like a gun? What's the name for it? The gun
I
trainer?
did not know this.
No,
never explained. Never explained before.
Okay, this is an instance where I'm actually okay with it because it's like, yeah, this is information being held till the last second, but it's also like Tomotage just knows how to shoot a gun. Like, I'm okay with keeping it, not knowing that until the last second where it's like, oh god, he can shoot.
It's for the funnest reason.
You know what? They do mention that he did get in an accident and had to leave, like, training somewhere earlier in the chapters. It's very slight and very subtle.
Yeah, okay, there is that too. That is also fair.
Let's not forget that he's also a master photographer. So, of course, he's a good shooter.
He knows where to aim. And then,
Akasaka's in the driver's seat, Tomotage in the back shooting it on the ground.
It's literally hot fun.
Look, I said it before. Good, bad, it doesn't matter. It's fun.
Bang, bang, bang. like at that point, it's just like, okay, we're at a phone booth. He calls up and he tells them everything that's happened, and it's like, oh, they won. Oh, we won. That's it. That was all that we needed to do.
Yeah, I mean they do say during the planning stages that it's like once the Bloodhounds are in, like it is over. It's just how do we get to that step? We can't get the Bloodhounds here without the proper proof and everything. But we're good now.
Yep.
We got it. Just get them
all
in.
The thing
like,
is, we'll be there in 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, it's like, oh no.
I thought like that was gonna change everything. It really didn't.
No.
Okanogi is just like, I want to see the mastermind that's been killing my men. Oh, not killing my men. But the incapacitating my men. And just be like, how old are you? You know what? I don't care.
I know, it's like, God, we can finally get an idea on their like exact ages, and then he's just like, I don't care.
But still, like, he definitely lost to like a 17-year-old.
And maybe I have an appreciation for Okanogi. But Mion she did bring up, and I mean Okanogi kind of hinted at it too. It's like for everything that he did, he knew that he lost, and he did a lot of like bad things. Like in his eyes, his redemption, his best way out was to lose to the other leader. Plus he's like giving Mion advice as he's like half fighting her. I don't want to say that like he threw it, but he wanted to lose.
In his case, it did help that like Takano just kept screaming, "What are you doing? Kill her!"
Yeah.
He literally at one point he goes, "Shut up!"
Yeah, the first time he says "shut up," and then after a while he's just like, "You can ignore her. Don't worry about her."
And then he doesn't even respond.
Yeah, he's also responding
do
to
you
her
wanna-
after a while.
Do you want to lead over the mountain dogs? There's like, oh, do you want to lead over the? I can't remember any of the group that he said, and just like there's only one. Jesus, there's only one thing I want to lead: the Bible Club in a Hinamizawa branch school.
No, more specifically, she says, there's only one thing I want to lead, our club. And he's like, oh, the British Information Agency, of course. I don't know why.
What? No.
I don't know why, but that cracks me up.
And then they're about to do the final blow, and then mountain dogs.
The Bloodhounds, they show up.
Oh shit, Bloodhounds.
No, he does do the final blow because it was the
you're
throw.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, he did an air throw, and then the helicopter came in.
Yeah, you're right.
Like in Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Okanogi first. You bought me out. Well, turns out somebody else bought me for more money, which that's the other one that I like, that they kind of keep it hit it. Well, not really hit it.
They foreshadow that really well.
Yeah, they foreshadow it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. I still wouldn't have minded, just because it really goes to show you how fickle buying people out is. But they do foreshadow it, so that's true. I remember when I first read this is interesting. When I first read this, I remember thinking that, Okanogi was like just being like really bad here. Like telling Takano to kill herself, like, oof. And rereading this, like, I mean, he hates Takano. He thinks she's like the most annoying person he's ever met. But when he says, shoot yourself, she doesn't. He says, okay, I'll do it. And she runs away, and he says, like, this is all I can really do for you as somebody who's worked with you for the last 5 years. This is, I'll let you go, so to speak. Then the Bloodhounds show up, and he's like, oh, she ran away.
Yeah.
It's the best thing that he can do to be like, all right, well, you can figure it out from here. Instead of me just killing you, or you making you kill yourself, which is what my job is. And it's like, okay. Actually, maybe, I have a lot of, it's weird. It's like Wash and Kasai, but not as much, because Kasai, oh my god.
Yeah.
But it's that, but less, and how he doesn't do a lot, and he's introduced super late, but it's like, no, I like Okanogi.
That's fair.
Yeah, like at first I didn't really like him in 7 because he was barely in it.
Yeah.
But
he's
He's the extremely fishy-looking guy who you just have to trust. Don't call the cops.
I'm telling you, you want somebody to cut a tree, get that nose. He will just... It's so sharp. I remember reading this for the pod. I did not remember Hanyu telling Takano to kill herself. I did not remember that.
I was like, what the fuck? Are you refuting the whole thing?
I did not remember that.
Like, just like, I'm glad we didn't kill anybody, and Hanyu is just like, LOL, kill yourself.
Kill you, literally.
I know why she did it. It's because she was basically reverse psychology.
Well, no, it was reverse psychology. We're telling her, hey, you want to become a god?
Because it technically worked. I know what she means by that, because a lot of great leaders who were well known for and infamous, guess what happened to them? Then Takano remembers, oh yeah, I got a bullet in this gun.
A miracle.
If I'm not right, was this the moment?
I'm getting angry just thinking about this.
I knew it. Do you know why I knew it? Because I felt angry too.
Who do you want? Okay, let's start with Wash. Oh, I'm the one saying this. Oh my god. Let's start with Wash. What did you think about this?
Now? You're doing this now? And it's like they're talking about like the reason behind it. It's like, okay, but just like that it actually happened, that she just became the Flash. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm gonna have to give it to either of you.
We went through hours on hours, and even some more hours reading. Get our perfect ending. Takano comes in with a fucking bullet near the end with 30 minutes left, because I counted from this moment until the end. You did all that, and one of you's gonna die anyway. And if someone was I was literally just about to be like, end it there. I wasn't gonna watch the rest. After all that, she was just gonna pull this fucking bullshit. Like, it just felt like it was a last minute cop out.
Oh yeah, like this whole situation. Like I said, pack it in, Takano, you silly bastard. Yeah. Like this is stupid. Like,
no, at least with Hot Fuzz, it's more credible. Like I will, and
like,
also
Hot
funny.
Fuzz made fun of this.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yes,
like,
and
literally, what are you doing?
like what are you doing? Just you don't need to do this. This is padding.
Literally don't need to do
stupid.
this. It makes no sense for you.
This is padding. This is stupid. There's really no reason for this to happen.
Yeah.
And it just did nothing but infuriate me because I just wanted that goddamn happy ending. And it was going to be taken away from me even though I went through all that reading. The only reason the Matrix bullet didn't bother me was because that nobody died. And it made the reading worth it. But story-wise, Akasaka wasn't a Deus Ex Machina. Rika taking the bullet like it's a freaking pea and just being like, yoink. Like she's an Animal Crossing villager. Just being like, bleh. And then it just continued on the plot. And I'm like, you could have just cut that and just had it where, like, even they find Takano about to, like, maybe either they find Takano or they, like, convince the Bloodhounds or the Bloodhounds find them and then the rest of the stuff happens. But you could have cut all that. And especially if you spend 4 chapters wanting me to get sympathy for Takano, that whole shooting standoff where they threatened to shoot Mion and Hanyu, who I started to like I get if you wanted Hanyu to die, I understand. But, like, 1, I didn't want her to die because I liked her. And 2, death means failure. You want me to sympathize with her after that? What the fuck? And then it ended and they continued with the story and I felt better, but I was fuming.
I hate it. And then it ended.
Literally none of this mattered. Especially just like how dragged out it gets because he's just being like, I kill all of you. I don't care. And it's just like, I get it. Just shoot it. Just shoot already.
Just shoot it or don't. Just get on with it.
Get on with it.
I was fuming. And the reason I knew, once you told me that, like, there was a point where we turned off my laptop at 19, I was like, I know exactly where.
The funny story is that that's, like, not even close to being what my reasoning was. I'm glad we had the same one, but it's, like, nothing in common.
Oh, really? What's the reason then?
So, oh boy, oh gosh, Higurashi is a lot of things, but as we learn in 6 and 7, what makes those stories beautiful is that you overcome hardships by tackling them head on with other people that you love and reaching a conclusion and working towards it. It's so good. And Higurashi 8 doesn't start with that because nobody remembers what happens in 7, but it picks up where 7 would have gone. The club members, they have their bond, they're tight. Akasaka, Irie, Rika, Ohishi, I don't even remember who the person with an R was, probably Irie maybe. Like, they all have their reasons to do what they want to do, and together they work towards reaching that goal, that ultimate shared goal of giving Rika the future that she quite frankly deserves. And in getting to that goal, everything that they do by doing everything that this 150-hour, longer than the Bible series has been working towards. And then Takano has the gun, things are intense, she shoots, and the ultimate resolution of this battle of wits of Takano, this evil, and the friends that have been working towards this goal is not that. Turns out, nope, it's a fucking miracle. I hate it so much.
No, I get it. I understand.
I totally get it, yeah.
The whole point of this 150 fucking hour long story is that you don't need magic or miracles or any of that. You just need the things that you're not encouraged to have in your life. Healthy friends, healthy relationships, trust. beautiful message just thrown out the window. Also that Rika can fucking caress a bullet. Rika gently rubbing the bullet or whatever while, like, that's like the microcosm of just like, this is stupid. This is what I always think about when it comes to this. But it's when I was going through this, and I got to this point and I was worried, and I'm going through and it's just like, you know, I was 19. What I thought about, like, the world when I was 19 is so different from what I think now. Like, you change so much. But reading this, I felt like I was 19 again. I was so angry. If this was a movie that had a stupid ending, I would not like it. And I would probably be saying, like, God, this sucks. I would leave it at that. This is hours. We get invested so much into everything. The minute details of Higurashi are so detailed and explained. You care so... You feel like you're with them, even if you're not with them physically. You know, like, Hanyu can get to them. Like, you feel like I know them. I'm with them. Together as this group. I'm believing that I'm believing to help them get this happy, and it doesn't matter. This whole... Sorry I made you guys waste your time, because everything that we read up to this point doesn't matter. None of it matters, because Rika can gently caress the bullet and flick it out of the way. None of it matters. Yep. The actual worst part, the anime handles it way better. It's the same setup. Takano shoots, she misses. That whole thing with Rika, not there. Now, the implication is their will is stronger than Takano's. And that's fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Do you want to talk about anything else or final thoughts? You know what I will say? I like the bonus. I always like the afterwards with Ryukishi. I always like those. Yeah. You know, he said it himself. Just, you know, thank you. You know, just very humble. Thank you for reading through with me, taking this whole thing. And it's just very nice. The secret ending, which you get by reading all of the fragments in a specific order, and then on a new game, when you go through the fragments, you can get the secret ending. I'm assuming... Well, I forget if it's ever directly spelled out, but the TLDR of it is that somebody goes to Miyoko, going back to Takano's old name, to tell her to... Pretty much tells her to go shopping at the mall with her parents. And because of, like, the little bit of time delay, her parents never die, and, you know, she gets her own happy ending in a way. And then it just goes to, like, oh, let's just rearrange the pieces, whatever. And, like, this really goofy music is playing.
And, like, let's ship Casey with other girls.
And then it's pretty much just Ryukishi being like, hey, Higurashi fanfiction, that's gonna be a thing.
Official
I encourage it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then that's the story. That's the story.
That's it.
What I thought was gonna happen with that was, because I didn't quite get what was going on. I thought what was gonna happen was that, like, Rika was like, hey, you're gonna miss your parents are gonna leave without you. Wait, Mom and Dad, and then they all die in the train accident, and Rika's like, job done. We killed Hitler. I genuinely thought that was what was going to happen, because I didn't understand why her joining them would do anything against the train.
It's time for final thoughts.
I will go first, because I am very conflicted. On the one hand, while I'm not too crazy about the first quarter of it, I like Chapter 5 a lot. I think the planning stages are super cool, and until the entire story was made completely irrelevant and pointless, I was having a lot of fun with 11. I mean, there are problems, most of which, while I was going through, I didn't really notice. I was just having fun, because that's kind of the spirit of this one, I feel like. Obviously, it's about getting that happy ending, but Matsuri is festival. That's what Matsuri means, and the book is called Matsuribayashi. So, like, a big part of, like, the soul of this is having fun. Especially in Chapter 11. Everybody's having the time of their life. But once that stupid scene happened, just a lot of the because you're in such a bad mood, you start thinking about all the problems. And it's just, they're all coming to me, and it's like, that's fair. But those 5 minutes, a Bug's Life doesn't make me this angry. I think this is my least favorite. I think I would take 2 over this one. Truth be told, I struggle to think what we've done for the podcast that I would take over. Just 5 minutes. Like, I mean, you're like, it's like A Bug's Life, sure, there's enough fun in here, but I even think, like, I'm thinking bottom of the barrel, like Cars 2. At least that's over in an hour and a half. Like, there is so much that I genuinely really appreciate here. Doesn't matter. It might not make sense, and truth be told, like, logically it doesn't make sense, but it's what I feel. And Random Wash wants to go next.
I'll go next, because I was talking with Random about this before the call, and he was also telling me he was conflicted, so I'll go next. I'll also say, I think I might also say this is my least favorite of it, but for different reasons. Like, basically, like, I just didn't enjoy everything other than chapter 11. Like, the stuff, the preamble before chapter 5 was just exhaustive politics. Chapter 5 was repetitive and, like, occasional cool stuff, but just like, God, why is it so fucking long? Then in the preamble, it's just like, okay. And then chapter 11 was a lot of fun. And then it had the 5 minutes of this is so stupid. This is so unnecessary. So it's like, I'll say, just to make you feel a little better, Kirby fan, I am glad I read Higurashi all the way through. I'm glad I completed this. I'm not glad I finished this so quickly. It had a lot of fun. I fucking love Kasai. It's chapter book 6 is still the best, of course. I don't hate it nearly as much, but like it's probably my least favorite of the 8 books. Random, clarify yourself.
Yeah, this one burned me out a lot. And it wasn't even the point where it was my fault, because I'm not gonna lie, I burned myself out with the other books, but that was all my fault. Because I was procrastinating or just didn't pace myself well. I still paced myself the best I could with this one. The Takano origin story didn't really do it for me, but it was okay. Chapter 5 was where I just burned out the most. I just felt exhausted. And it was great when it was great. Don't get me wrong, when it was great and it revealed shit I didn't know, it was fantastic. But when it just kept repeating shit that was already explained many different times, it was rough. We got to chapter 6, and you know what? We started seeing the club again. We started seeing everybody, all the characters we cared about, and you know what? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It was great to see club activity. It was great to see everybody work together. Hanyu even had a bigger role, and you know what? She stepped up her game, and I really enjoyed her as well. And we got it. I drove the ride of chapter 11, and I was having I was starting to get a little tired, but all throughout chapter 11 was a blast, except for those 5 minutes. I was watching the end, and I got to the recaps, and then I got to the bonus, and I got to here, and then they ended. Something didn't feel right. Something about this conclusion didn't feel right, and I didn't know what it was. And I thought really long and hard about it while I was at work. I even talked to Wash about it, and I was like, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kirby fan told it to me.
And I lost my mind.
No, you did. It's not just the 5 minutes. It didn't help.
Those 5 minutes gave me Hinamizawa Syndrome.
Honest to God, me too. But it's not just that. It's what you stated before. This story no longer is about Kichi or them. It's about Rika and Takano.
And Hanyu somehow.
I feel like Ryukichi just tried to do so many things for this chapter and just got lost in it. And it just tried his best to just get himself out of the corner he ridden himself out of. And wasn't satisfying. I didn't find it satisfying. I found both 6 and 7's endings before the tragedies a lot more satisfying than this. It has a lot of great moments. The finale is such a ride. It's great to see Akasaka be Nicholas Angel. There's a lot of great moments in it that are just fantastic, but it doesn't feel like a proper ending like the other ones did. And I can't say I'm satisfied with how it ended. Can't. Does it make the whole journey of Higurashi not worth it? Hell no. I'm still glad I read this novel. I'm still glad I went through a lot of the books and the hours. Book 6 is still really fucking good. Book 7, for the ending that I hated, it did a better job of making each character useful. In my opinion, if they combined book 7 with, instead of that ending, replacing what happens around chapters like 6 through 11, combine both of them two together, it would be perfect. Maybe add some Ichi and them trying to work together and during that whole bullet scene instead of a miracle. This isn't Encanto. This is Higurashi. It wouldn't be so bad if this wasn't the conclusion. I just can't say I'm satisfied with this. This is my least favorite book, too. I thought 2 would be better, at least. Or 2 would be worse, at least. But no. What the good things about it aren't worth the lack of whole I would feel. I just don't feel satisfied. I feel satisfied that I read the series. I do. And I don't regret this at all. I'm still glad we read it. I'm still glad we got to experience it. The characters are what make Higurashi great. But I think Higurashi 8 forgot that.
You know what's satisfying to me? You and Wash have the exact same list.
I know. Again, like I said, I don't feel as extreme that, like, I definitely don't agree that this is like Cars 2 level. Like, hold on there, Buster.
The whole book isn't worse than The Good Dinosaur, but those 5 minutes were. As
astute viewers might be thinking, wait a minute, I thought Higurashi was just 8 books. That's what we've been saying. What's this Higurashi 9? Well, when Higurashi ended at a later I think it was the same year as Higurashi even wrapped up, like that shortly after. Ryukishi had released a little compilation. It had 3 stories. One of them we don't talk about. One of them was just a fun little side short story. And then the other one was what was considered for a while to kind of be like an unofficial, Ryukishi wrote it, but like kind of, quote unquote unofficial Higurashi 9. But as time went on, it just kind of became, it's like, no, this is the follow-up to the story. This is canon. So we will be reading the not even 4 hours long Higurashi 9.
Only 4 hours?
Not even.
Oh, I hate that we have to say that, but oh my god, yes.
Yeah, and
I could finish this in a day if I wanted to.
Well, I'm going to ask you to do 2 days minimum, but
no, I will. Trust me, I will.
But that's not all we have planned coming up.
Well, yeah, we do have some more, but I will save that for next time. But we still have a couple. We're not done.
We're not done yet.
The original run, so to speak.
The million words were finished.
Yeah. The Bible is over. Now we're reading. The
Bible is over.
Now we're reading,
Tune in for our next podcast where we read the Bible.
And all you can say is, wow, this was so much shorter.
And I'm gonna say to all the Higurashi fans,
so long.
As someone who has read part of the Bible, yeah. But I will say to all the Higurashi fans watching, because the podcast episode is starting. We have a few of you watching. I still enjoyed this series so far.
I definitely do want to. I mean, obviously, we still have Higurashi 9 and some other stuff. That's finale. I definitely, I do want to go over like the bigger picture and get like overall thoughts before we get into the fun with the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But until then,
if we haven't angered Higurashi fans, where can they find us?
So you can send your hate comments over to twitter.com/WRK podcast. You can call us monsters. You can call us horrible, horrible things there. And we'll
don't
take
forget
that
demons.
engagement. We'll let you know when the next episode comes out. You can be mad at that one too. And if you want to watch this in video form, we have the YouTube channel, youtube.com/WRK podcast. Be sure to subscribe over there. So any sort of subscription, any sort of comments, that really helps out. You can also listen to us in audio form on wrk.simplecast.com and wherever else you get your podcast. Thank you very much.
And with that,
oh my god. I feel like this recording hasn't fucking ended.
I didn't feel the weight of my shoulders until that plug was done. Because now I'm like, yes, I'm officially done with technically Higurashi, but not yet.
Not yet.
We still have more to do. And you know what? I'm excited for it. Because if 9 is officially another part of Higurashi, that means 8 isn't the end. So let's do that.
It could be a bad ending. It could be a good ending. I can't say that it's worse. It could be worse. It could be worse. I just can't say that it's worse.
Anything is better than those 5 minutes. It's gonna take a lot.
I never thought I'd see the day.
With that,
I'm random bystander here.
I am the Wash.
I promise you, I like Higurashi. Promise.
We all do.
We all do. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Holy goddamn! I'm stopping recording.
Thank you.